welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I'm your host, A.D. Walker, the Pucha di Glory Motivator. I appreciate you guys for being here. Sorry, made a last minute move there. Appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for always being a part of the broadcast. Make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. What else? What's today? Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. So make sure you check out Solomon's Temple Christian Ministries at 7 p.m. with our very own Pastor Brian A. McCrory Sr., as well as 8:30. Samantha and the crew will be on Sisters of Legacy. Make sure you tune in as well. And if you feel like you're missing anything, make sure you text LWN to 84576. To 84576. You know, I'm way down in my shando. Think about having a segment called, that we used to have on Brothers Who Talk called Tell Them Why You Mad. Because I'm building a list. I'm building a list of companies, of not really people. If they are people, they're probably like celebrities, that are so far, apart from me. But more or less companies. Yeah, because I'm getting a little aggravated with, man. And yeah, I might do that. Yeah, it's fine. That's really what, that's what honest. And it all folds into one. I'm sorry, I talked to my producer, the amazing partner in life, my wife. So I tell them why you mad kind of segment, bringing that back. Because I got some beef. Honestly, if you've ever watched The Daily Show with Jon Stewart and now Trevor Noah, and if you watched it any bit of time, Jon Stewart's biggest gripe was with Arby's. And at any time he makes jokes, hey, good morning, Kathy. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Arby's, and he always makes crack some joke or anything like that. And then when Trevor Noah took over, his target was Spirit. and anytime he could take swipes or attacks at Spirit Airlines, he would do so. So mine here at the Brothers of Legacy, from now until eternity, will be Par's Cars. Say no to Par's Cars. And I don't know how big they are. I know I've only heard of them to like Georgia. And they know the Par's Cars unless you want predatory lending, unclear items in your contract, and a bunch of shenanigans when they call you. Go to Par's Cars. Yeah. So say no to Par's Cars. All right. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Today we're gonna have a kind of like a break off of conversation that we had yesterday, but it's going to lead towards like our responsibility, and do we take responsibility for the actions that we cause, getting things started, because sometimes when we make certain decisions, it could look like, well, I made a decision, now I become the victim of my decision. But in actuality, I am the perpetrator of the action that has now caused my life to be in a certain space. And we spoke about some person yesterday. And actually, I have another person I'm going to add to that list because I was watching an interesting podcast about him and then watching like a little mini documentary that didn't paint him bad, but they gave a true aspect of the news and things in certain situations. And the person actually said, yo, I'm rooting for the person to do better. And we're going to talk about him in essence, not get too deep into them, but just, sometimes, your actions can turn against, most things, I make a decision, I have to live with that consequence, but I can't now start screaming that I'm being victimized because of some of my actions. So we're going to dig into that today, and it's going to be a good conversation. And speaking of Daily Show, I was watching Trevor Noah's, and he kind of gave a great commentary about some of the stuff we talk about, and I think that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off, get started. As always, we appreciate you being here. Again, make sure you share, tag another brother, let everybody know that the Brothers of Legacy are in the building. If you're on Facebook, make sure you share it to your page, tag somebody, and let everybody know that we're here. If you have an inbox, if you message some folks, say, hey, this may be a great conversation. Remember, we was talking about this earlier. Hey, Mama Court, great morning to you. Thank you for being here. So make sure you do that. And that's it. So we're gonna go ahead, get ready, kick it off, and we'll be right back right after this. I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast, where we are changing our community one conversation at a time, every day.
We are creating a new legacy. Change gon' come. 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 A co-op has to start with ownership. Right. We have a mindset of either I want to make a lot of money or survive. Make a bunch of money or I got to figure out how to survive.
When you have a real bond, when everyone has, we come in with real expectations. Mm-hmm. Because this is covenant.
The whole premise is that we as a people, with our money and time, aren't often making this journey possible, often invested in the business.
You're watching the Brothers of Legacy. We don't stand out. We stand up.
All right, and we're back. Welcome back. I got the bottom of what I'm trying to. Okay, I got stuff in the screen today. It's all good. We're just gonna rock it the way it's gonna rock. So again, make sure you sharing, and sharing. And like I said, today we're talking about taking the personal responsibility for a lot of the decisions that we make, and how, like I said, our personal decisions, what they say, what's that law of Newton? With every action, there's a reaction. So the roads that we take, we can't put it all on somebody else, right? So I'm gonna navigate this as best as I can, because the one thing, if you've ever watched Brothers of Legacy any length of time, one, we're not about sensationalism. If we ever bring up a name, it's less just to kind of share with the navigation of the story of where I'm going. But it's never to crucify a particular person. At least they just do something dumb, more or less a political official. I'll crucify them in a second because they put themselves in a public space. But this is, so we're talking about, so there's two particular people that I've been kind of watching and just kind of been thinking about on both ends. One is Kanye West, and the other one, prayerfully I don't say his last name wrong, but it's Michael Beasley. I'm sure Pastor know he's a basketball player. I think he plays for the Nets currently, or just was playing for them. And for the most part, we know the sensationalized story of what these guys have kind of gone through, especially Kanye West, because he's probably been in the news more because of the level of celebrity that he is, and is coming on and doing this thing. What I want to discuss is just sometimes we have to be able to own up to the parts that we take, the things that we do, and there's always an area where the other party should, but what part have we taken in getting into a particular situation or particular space. Hey, good morning, Eda, good morning. Or a particular space, we have to be mindful of the parts that we take, right? So with like even my own life, the spaces that I found myself in, as much as sometimes you can you can put it off on somebody, right? Um, Man, I was a little late. They could have gave me a shot. I just said this. They could have forgiven me. It just was this. They didn't have to respond like that. And we can put the onus on someone else, or even sometimes our parents. They didn't have to raise me like this. That's why I'm like this. But my thing about the way you're raised, and you realizing that the way I was raised was kind of jacked up, and now I'm this way. You know what it is. To me, once you know what it is, you have now taken the responsibility of where you're at. Because Michael Beasley, he spoke about like his past, his struggles, and was watching a podcast called The Pivot, so you can reference it. And he talked about his past, and he said something interesting. Wonderful passages came right in the building, right when I'm into this. Mike Beasley said something that kind of stuck with me, and really kind of one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation. He said, I will take some of it, but I won't eat the whole pie. He said, I'm going to take some of it. Huh?
Who said that?
Michael Beasley. Am I saying his name right? He's a basketball player.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know him. I'm about to say, because he's like mid-level, high, he ain't new. Oh, so he said, I will take some, but I won't eat the whole pie. And I think a lot of his references were like the way he grew up, because he started out his story about being used. He's like, they just wanted to use me for my talent, and no one cared about, I guess, how I felt. And in that's a whole nother kind of conversation of being abused that happens in all kinds of spaces. But I think like when people say things like that, I was like, are they really taking the full responsibility of where their life is? Because his thing is, I struggled in basketball. I was such an outcast because of how I grew up, because of this, because of that. And like I said, I think once you recognize, like it's one thing if I'm acting a certain way and someone says to me and I say, hey, this is probably what you just learned. And you're like, it is. It's how I grew up. Oh, I feel like once you get a revelation about certain things, it's like, now it's like I've taken, what was over here. Now I'm taking this responsibility, maybe team 2019. Okay, he is. Oh, last play. Okay, so he's not current. He last played in played for the Lakers. Okay. And so to me, like once I recognize my part or what I grew up learning, then it's my responsibility to make better decisions. And any decision after my revelation, now I got to eat that whole pie. Now this is on me. And like when it comes to kids, like I give most kids like maybe to like 19, 20, 19 years or 20 years old, you can still be foolish based on what you know. Like you grew up in the streets, man, that's all I know. All I know is how to get by. Like I bring him to the house, he might be trying to stuff something in his pocket, like I'm trying to survive. When I leave here, I've got nothing. Like, so you got a nice house. I don't know if I'm coming back. It's kind of like, what was that, trading places? He was like, this ain't real. Let me go and get this. Let me go and get this. Oh, so it definitely, I think like once you learn, you just have to try to make better decisions. And of course, the residue of being reactionary based on how I reacted before may still be there. But this is the moment you recognize it. Like someone said, Pastor, you got a little anger issue, like, and then you're like, and you have the conversation, really? He's like, Pastor, we were playing checkers, and just because I jumped you twice, you took it, threw the checkers thing out. And I'm being real, like you have the conversation, and then you're like, man, like it usually takes 2 or 3 examples, and it comes from different people. Like, babe, last time, the Cowboys lost, you almost threw something through the TV, like, and you didn't even have any money on the line, like you just lost it, and you realize, okay, so now I'm struggling with that. And we have the conversations, how I grew up, what I watched this person do that. This is how I watched this person react. And now it's like, was it taking the power back? Now you understand your trigger. Like, and it's probably just about anything right now. It's like, so what do I do with it? When it come in my mind, like, pause, grip my fist, hold myself, I can imagine, like, if it was me, Sam put a hand on my back, like, okay, process, don't flip it. It's gonna be okay. And I think these are the moments that you got to take responsibility. You got to take responsibility. So I, like I said, I mentioned these guys, and it is important that, once you recognize it, you have to take the responsibility. I think, you got to eat the whole pie. Would you agree, Pastor? Like, do you feel like, or do you feel like it's still on somebody else?
No, I do believe you have to, at some point, you have to accept responsibility.
Right.
Period. In life. Right. There's an old adage, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
Once you come to the realization, not only of your actions, but the impact of your actions, right? Because it's one thing to recognize what I'm doing, but what helps me take accountability is to realize the impact that what I'm doing has on my surroundings, right, on those that I love, those that I'm connected to, right? If I never see the impact, I don't know how bad it is. I don't know how seriously I have to take it.
Right.
So until I recognize, wow, what I'm doing is causing a negative impact for someone around me. This is going to change my relationship. It's going to change my disposition. It's going to change how I live my life, change how people interact with me. I need to take a look at, I need to take this seriously.
Yeah.
So part of that, taking responsibility and accepting accountability is recognizing not only what you're doing, but the impact that it's having to those around you. That's why you have to create some effective change in your behavior, or in the way that you're thinking that's driving your behavior, understanding those triggers. What gets me here? How did I get to this place where every time this happens, I go all the way over, or I back away and I shut down, or I make a joke out of it. I'm compensating, whatever it is that I'm doing that becomes apparent to those who know me.
Yeah,
I have to take note, take the hints, take the message, receive the message. So you know better, you do better.
Definitely. So what do you do? Because it's so funny when you're saying that, like, recognizing the impact and what you do. I think about what, things that have the interventions, when I guess a person doesn't realize how much he's hurting people. So we all coming around like, dude, you keep wilding out. We have moments, but overall, we're all hurting for you because of some of the things that you're doing, and it's affecting us and our relationship. Like, you don't change something, we can't deal with you, So it's imperative, I think, that, we take on this in the that we do and listen to us. I think sometimes the first person that says it, you're like, oh, it's just you. it ain't everybody. It's just how you react to who I am, and until you hear from somebody else, you're like, is it really me? Is it me causing the problems? And I think that's one of the hardest looks, when you realize how you're affecting other people. And then of course, as an adult, how long have you been doing it? You know, how many relationships just kind of they backed away from you and not said anything. You know, they just said, you know what, I ain't fooling with that dude. You know, and because they don't say anything. You know, when we talked about yesterday, the disappearing, disappeared. You're like, you start thinking like, what did I do? You know, and then if it's a trend, you're like, what is it that I'm doing that starts out okay, and then you know makes people back away. I think that is one of the biggest challenges in a relationship. Tim says it's impossible to grow. It's impossible to grow or change without
change without acceptable responsibility. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That taking responsibility. And everybody listen, everybody in the audience or watching, let me know what you think. Okay, did it pause? Everybody hear me? We good? Okay.
Yes.
Let me know what you think. Do you feel like, the onus is on other surroundings or people? Or is it more on the person that's responsible for the actions? And like I said, I mentioned like Kanye West and some of the issues going on there. I always I think about some of his actions he can take, and just to make things better. I know he's had his rants, but when you're human, you just sometimes people do Facebook posts, long ones, and like especially back in the day when Facebook really got started, I've watched so many emotional posts. I was looking like, man, I am never gonna put this on Facebook like that. Like I don't care how I'm feeling. Like I would, like I'm more the type I might react to somebody else's post. I'm like, yeah, you right. Like I'm gonna put my word. You said it. I'm just changing names in my mind.
So you're playing air guitar with social media.
Right. You said it just like this. Okay, not all of it, but most of that's in my situation,
Yeah.
But I've never I've never put like a full on blast what I was going through kind of emotions, relationship, or do the anonymous call out. I can't stand when people or like I can't stand when people in church do such and such. Like what? Who are you talking about? And then sometimes the foolish one will take the bait and they're in the comments like, I don't care what you say. This is how I felt. Like so it's but going through that stuff, it's like you gotta take responsibility for causing an even bigger fire. Than it should have been, because you should have either gone to them, if it's church, go on the past, like find a way to resolve the issue instead of just putting all your emotions. And I get it, but you find somebody to vent to. You call somebody and you let it all out. Let it all out because I'm mad, I'm angry, whatever it is. But you find a better way to vent. Because even
I heard someone say, think about how challenging it is for you to change your behavior. Right? You have said, you're the kind of person like when you get stressed, you kind of shut down, you back away, and trying to change that about yourself has been such a challenge.
Right.
But you recognize what it does to the people around you when they can't pull information out of you.
Right.
And it's forcing you to take a real hard look at yourself and try to affect change in your life.
Yes.
And those are the things that I've had to look at in my own life over the years, which is why having a relationship with the Lord is so important, so critical. Right? I found myself in the Word of God. So I got the tools to help me to change and communicating with my family and stuff. And it makes us better. But look at how tough that road is to change your behavior.
Right.
So when you think about how tough it is for you, it helps you understand how little control you have with someone else.
Right.
True. And so if you begin to understand that, everybody gets to take accountability because you can't change anybody else.
No.
So
Indeed.
if it's so hard for me to change, even though we think we can, I'm gonna make a woman out of you. I'm gonna make him a husband. I'm gonna, and you 20 years later, you're still trying to do it.
Right.
But if you know how difficult that is,
Right.
you know how critical it is for you to examine yourself and accept accountability.
Right. Yeah.
You've got to do it yourself because look at how hard it is to try to change somebody else.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
right.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely can't change anybody. That's a non-starter. You can, that's always, I don't know, I guess. But switching a little bit, what in your mind usually thinks you can change somebody? Like, I can make them better. They know they jacked up. I can make them better. Like what mind thinks that we can change somebody?
Everybody believes in their ability to persuade. Everyone believes they have a certain amount of the power of persuasion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, he cares enough about me. She cares enough about me. Yeah, I could get them to do that.
Right.
Until they don't. Like everybody believes in the power of persuasion.
Right.
Even to the point of you believe it so strongly that you're willing to lie to persuade somebody to do something. Right? A false sense of success. Well, if you do this, I'll do that. Even if you're not sincere about getting it done.
Wow.
Because my goal is just to get you to do something.
Right.
And it could be healthy or it could be unhealthy. But to your point, why do we believe we can change people? Because everybody believes in the power of persuasion.
Right. Wow.
If I put my mind to it, I can get it. Even if it means going corrupt.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah. It's that's big. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
That's big. All right, let me ask my people. Do you guys feel like, that you can change somebody, or have you attempted? Not that you can change somebody, because everyone's already realized you can't change anybody. Have you attempted to change people, persuade them, and felt strongly that you could, only for it to go bad, or get no change? Because like you said, in the last 20 years, you're like, this joker here, he seemed like he going there, then he going back. And for a little while, then he going back. Have you guys let us know, your opinion, and do you feel like in a lot of your situations, has it been more external things that have happened to you, or has it been more internal things that you should have taken responsibility for? And have, because we mature, we grow, we realize certain things that we could have done better, made better decisions, because especially in relationships, people respond to us a certain way because of our past behavior. Like you set a certain standard, like you're always angry, you're always reacting a certain way. They're going to start reacting, one, to protect themselves,
Mm-hmm.
What you want, why are you acting like this? Like you can't keep treating somebody a certain way and expect them to continuously be nice, because you're gonna end up getting the reactions. Passive things like if someone, and I said, like, if someone was like, man, she used to be so nice, and I'm telling you, so what did you do to her? What did you do to make her angry? I would not compromise my principles, my ethics, and definitely lie to get anyone to do anything. I would lower my standards to do that. Interesting. Sam says, I think I've assumed folks have wanted to change, so then begin pushing them in that direction based on what they have said, not necessarily because I thought they should or could be different. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, that change is serious, and I get what Sam's saying, because it seems like you want to go that direction. So I'm just trying to encourage you to get there. Be that motivator, that coach to get you to that space. To get
that. That's true. That's absolutely true. When you have a close enough relationship with someone, in a lot of cases, you've heard them communicate, you've heard them talk, you've heard their heart, And so, even if they don't say it out, even if they don't say it directly, their narrative in life says, I'm heading in this direction. And so you have a natural tendency or motivation to want to incent them, to push them in that direction, because you see where they're going, where they desire to go.
Right.
I completely get that.
Yeah.
There's and it's a valid statement. There's another perspective when you haven't had a conversation about where they desire to go with them, but you have an internal conversation with yourself about where you desire they go.
Right.
And so you begin pushing them in a direction that suits you.
Right.
And it may suit them as well, but it's going to benefit you.
Right.
And so you begin to push them in that direction. Right. So am I saying it's healthy? Am I saying it's unhealthy? I'm not saying it's unhealthy. What I'm saying is communication is so critical when you push.
Yeah.
Right. I've got to talk to myself about where I'm trying to go.
Right.
And David in the scripture said, the scripture says David encouraged himself in the Lord at his most distressing situation, when everything had been taken from him at Ziklag, wives, children, land, money, right? Everything had been taken from him. The Bible says that the people were turning and they wanted to kill him, but he encouraged himself in the Lord and then began to talk to God about what his next steps were. And what I'm saying is, it's one thing for me so I know that I have to communicate with myself about where I'm trying to go. But when I'm connected with someone else, it's even more critical to communicate with them about where we're going.
Right. Yeah.
It goes back to the impact that your actions have on me because we're connected.
Yeah.
Right. And so for us to be better, and it doesn't matter what type of relationship you have,
right?
For us to be better, for us to be more effective and productive while we're connected in the season that we're connected, we've got to talk about where we're going and how we're going to get there and what our interaction is and what your actions are doing for the relationship or to the relationship.
Definitely.
So it's communication.
Yeah, definitely. I think we definitely have that, that push for someone that, and like you said, especially if it benefits you and they're going that direction, it's kind of like, all right, let's go. But it's also knowing when though, like, they may want it, but they may not want it bad enough at this time. They desire it, but it's like, I don't want to
hear you, but not today.
Right. Exactly. Right. You have all the giftings and skills. Let's go. No. I don't really want to. I may not want to do the work of it. Like painting. I don't want it. Right. Timing is everything. Yeah. It's because I've been there, like pushing at the wrong time. I know you can, but pushing at the wrong time. And so it's all about the timing. And I had to. That was one of my toughest lessons, in helping and things of that nature. But it's that timing is huge, And if anybody listening, I know like you may see somebody with the greatest gift ever, they just have to be ready to move, right? You other really, I am not the kind.
Well, today you're pushing me, and I'm standing on a curb.
Right.
But yesterday you tried to push me, and that curb was a mountain.
Right.
That was the wrong day to push.
Right.
A 4-year-old wants to jump off the top bunk.
Right.
And he breaks his ankle or his arm because as much as he wants to do that, the timing is off because your body, your bones are not strong enough to absorb the shock of hitting that floor. Right. You may be able to jump off the top bunk. You just can't do it today.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. And it's funny to push you off the curb But it's not funny to push you off even the curb and you twist or crack your ankle.
Ooh.
Right? I wasn't prepared for the push today.
Right.
I wasn't set. My mouth was open. You know, timing is everything, you know.
All right. I'm gonna let y'all marinate on if y'all got that. All right. Yeah, that's that kid stuff you be doing. Oh, man, I wasn't ready for that. How you just do that? All right. Yeah, definitely. Timing is everything. Speaking of timing, this is the time for you to give thumbs up. If you're on YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. If you're in Facebook, if you're in the Facebook land, make sure you share, let everybody know that the brothers are on, tag, and all that, and then some. Let the world know that we are in the building, and we appreciate you for being here, rocking with us as well. Make sure you tonight at 7 p.m. Silent Temple Christian Ministries, traveling the scriptures with our very own Pastor Brian A. McCrory Sr., as well as 8:30. Samantha and the crew will be with Sisters of Legacy at 8:30. So make sure you check us out. Stay tuned and be a part of all of that. And if you feel like you're missing anything, make sure you are part of our text community. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576 and never miss a broadcast. And that's it. That's all we're sharing today. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with us and hanging with us, and being a part of our conversation. You know, and I don't take your time for granted because you could be watching anything, but you're hanging out with us. But that taking responsibility thing is huge. And if you know people, you know, I think all of us know somebody that needs to be taking responsibility, that's still pointing the finger and blaming everything and everyone else but themselves. Like, you realize you were here because you did this. You realize you decided that you want to do this. You're here. You know, it's like, it wasn't their fault. You know, it was your fault. You know, the cop came and got you because you did this. You know, like, the man didn't do that. You did this. You know, you put yourself in this situation. So, definitely encourage, you know, those to take responsibility. You can't, unfortunately, you'll never be able to change anybody. But I think, you know, just kind of encourage them. Try not to cut them off. It's rough because, you know, folks that make bad decision after bad decision after another bad decision, and you just be like, why you keep making these bad decisions? You know, just kind of encourage them, pray for them, you know, be there. And maybe one day they be like, you know what? I keep screwing this thing up. I'm gonna stop doing that. You know, there you go. You know, but until the day that Denzel Washington likes to say was that mystical, magical moment, then that'll change. But make sure you just encourage those that are not taking responsibility. Just encourage them, encourage. And like I said, I'm trying to get out the cutting off people because it's easy. That's just the default. Like, I'm not fooling with you no more. You know, but you do have to be mindful and protective. You know, like, too much access can be detrimental. But you just stay, you know, be at least length, be available if they need. What does taking responsibility look like? That's good.
Wow.
That's good.
Wow. It looks like someone falling on the sword.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility looks like this. You know what? Don't even trip. My bad.
Right.
You know what? Don't worry about it. I got you.
Right. Right.
This is on me, not on you.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me examine this.
Definitely.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Definitely.
Putting it on you.
Right.
not on someone else.
Right. Yeah. It's taking it. There it is. that was a good question. That was a good question. It also looks
Right.
like
That's I got you. Shield. I got you.
Yeah.
That's being the shield, the cover, if you would.
Right.
I got you. It's
Right.
on me. Yeah.
It's on me.
Right.
Not letting danger going any further. Right.
Recognizing that the situation or that the relationship is far more important than the moment.
Right.
Right. Which causes you to take the moment more seriously. In other words, I feel like winning in this moment when I'm losing.
Right.
But my relationship was more valuable than the W, so I'll take the L emotionally.
Right. Yeah.
Lose the battle, win the war.
Right.
You know, and why does it even have to be losing? Why do we even have to consider taking an L?
Right. Right.
If it's for the betterment of the project, the task, the relationship, the business, the marriage, you know,
definitely
the class.
Yeah.
There are no L's in progression.
Right. Indeed. I think, definitely.
It's good right there.
Like a win-win on that. It's a win-win.
There are no L's in progression. Wow.
Look at that. I'll write that down for you.
That down. In the words of Brian A. McCrory Sr., there are no L's in progression. Spell the word out. There's not an L in
it. All right. So listen, we appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Make sure you guys are here, same time, same channel. You know what we do. We take our conversation a little deeper. And remember, there's no L's in progression. As always, that we love you, God loves you more. Continue to stay safe. Continue to stay connected. Continue to always be a part. Do your part and share and tag. And we thank you guys for being here. We look forward to seeing you guys tonight, first at church, and hanging out with the sisters later. All right. So as always, I guess again, be safe. Continue to do the right thing. And listen. Say no to Par's cars.
Say no to Par.
As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you, guys.